Hey, how are you, Jerome?
Hey Norma, I'm doing excellent. How are you doing?
I'm doing good today. Can't complain. It's a beautiful fall day, and the leaves are turning colors outside my window. I love this time of year.
I do too. I like the cooler weather, and to see those leaves, I see like the yellow leaves out there. I really appreciate it. I got some leaves outside of my windows in my place too. Speaking of, Norma came to see me, I think 2 weeks ago, y'all. So it was fun. We did an
Oh,
episode while she was
good.
here in person.
Yeah, it was really cool to be with you in person. That was really I feel like I can drive to Philadelphia every now and then just to do a live in person.
Yeah,
Yep.
you're welcome to.
Yeah, yeah. So I have a grandchild there and a daughter, so it was just a nice week. So thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, my pleasure. So today we're going to talk about the top 9 things that really these are secrets that I never really talk about. So I'm going to give folk a few things that yeah, I kind of hold back on. They are my secrets to my success, and they work really well. And one of the things that these secrets will do is to ensure that you get close to a 5-star rating. You know, nobody and nothing is perfect except for if you're going to ship some things up to space like NASA. You got to be perfect in that case. But
Precise.
yeah, you got to be precise and perfect. And or if you fly in an airplane, I would want you to be perfect. But anyway, in this particular case, there are some secrets that I've never revealed, and today I'm going to reveal those secrets.
Well, I'm excited, Norma. I'm excited to get started, and we're working on a project together. We're going to make this into a book. So, anybody that's out there looking for how to be successful in short term rentals, this is going to be the book for them. So, Norma, our title is what? What is our title, Norma?
Short-term rental secrets revealed.
All right, I'm
Yeah,
excited.
this is
So,
because I'm revealing my secrets, and I'm
all right,
having a hard time, y'all, trying to letting this go. But we're going to go forward. We're going to go forward.
we're going to go forward and we're going to help people because they're going to be like, you know what? That was really good, Norma. I want to work with you.
Well, yeah, and you all have Jerome to thank for this.
Yeah, I'm putting some pressure on her, y'all. So, all right, Norma, we're going to start with short term rental secrets revealed by Norma Richards. These are Norma's top 9 secrets for her to achieve success in short term rentals as a real estate investor. I'm going to start with we're going to give you the secrets in no particular order. We're just going to give them to you and we might rearrange them later, but these are the secrets. So we're giving it to you raw, uncut. We're going to tell you what the secret is, why it matters, and then Norma's going to tell you how you can implement that secret. And if you want her help, you can hire her for her help. So, secret number 1, make sure the exterior appearance is appealing and make the pictures alluring. Norma, tell us what that means.
So what that means is to I like the word allure because it means to draw a person in. And you have to remember that short-term rental is competitive. You
Mhm.
have to make sure when people see your listing, they want to stop and that picture should grab them. And one of the things you want to do is make sure that your exterior looks good. Like I have flowers at all of my listings, and I have to give my husband credit because he's the one that plants all the flowers. If he were here, he would say, I was going to take credit for that. But I'm being good today. I'm going to let y'all know my husband is the one who plants the flowers at our listings. Also, paint colors. Now, um, I have properties with various different paint colors. Now, the one that's the most modern looking is a white house with black doors, black trim, and it has a little bit of gray at the top. But and then I have a house that has it's mauve and white, and that is a very '60s color. So, my daughter says, Mom, that's like old fashioned, but if it depends on who you're appealing to. Older folk don't mind a little nostalgia. And that's how I put it. It's nostalgic, baby. It's not old. um, so the flowers, the paint color, and also you want to have good lighting at night because you want your guests to feel safe and secure. And frankly, you want them to be able to see where they're going at night. So I would say lighting. And the good thing about lighting now is that you can get these solar operated lights and you
Okay.
can line your pathway to walk up to the door. And you can also, well, I have lights on the building shining on the porch area, up the driveway, in front of the garage. I have lights everywhere. Now those are motion censored lights. So they're not on all the time because I was reading somewhere where if you have flowers, a bunch of plants, which I do, that they need that, they go through they do photosynthesize during the day, but they have a dark cycle too that they go through at night, and they need for it to be dark. And so but the guests really are more important to me than the plants, y'all.
Okay.
I have some lights that come on automatically at dusk. So when it begins to get dark, they automatically come on. So I don't have to ask the guests, or I don't have to worry about them being on all day because they're activated by the sunlight or the darkness. And so I like to use those kinds of lighting because they're reliable. And also, here's another little secret: the light bulbs that I use in my units, in the lamps, I have an app that operates those light bulbs so that they come on and stay on for 2 to 3 hours. And that's really important, particularly when no one's in the unit, so that people think there's somebody there. So there's a lot of ways you can make your house smart and do things automatically.
Appealing
I'm
and
sorry.
alluring. Appealing and alluring.
Well, yes, those things are appealing because
Mhm.
it is appealing to have lights that come on at night, and the guests don't have to worry about turning them on.
Right.
So, yeah. So I would say you want to make your listings alluring too with the colors, the paint colors that you paint on the exterior.
Okay.
Also, the
So
neighborhood.
yeah. So we're on make our exterior appealing and make the pictures alluring.
Mhm.
And you just told us what that is. And now tell us why that matters. You talked about it a little bit. You talked about the safety and comfortability. Tell us why we want to make sure there's the listing, right? The exterior is appealing and why it matters. Like, how does that contribute to our listing?
Okay, so how does the alluring listing how
Yeah,
does
like, yeah,
well,
how
okay,
does the appearance being appealing and alluring contribute to our listing? It, Mhm.
it contributes. The bottom line is, Jerome, that
Mhm.
these things, short-term rental is competitive.
Okay.
So when people are perusing the internet and they're looking for, if they're you're on Airbnb, Verbal, if you have your own website,
Mhm.
when you people are looking, you have to make them want to stop and look at your listing and go, oh, that's nice. It's well kept. If the exterior is well kept, obviously they're going to think the interior is as well. So it's like first impressions.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. You talked about it a little bit, but what are, like, give me three things that I can do to make my exterior appearance appealing, and then give me three things on how I can make the pictures alluring. So let's start with number one. How do I make the exterior appealing? Three things.
Flowers, lighting, and paint colors.
Okay.
Modern paint colors, if yeah.
Modern paint colors. What do you mean by modern paint colors?
Well, I have I mean, well, okay, let's not use the word modern. I think that the colors should have a wide appeal. For example, you wouldn't want to paint your house purple
Okay.
because that would not have a wide appeal. because the most common house color in America really is white. And so if you painted your house white, there's no, that doesn't make your guests feel some kind of way about the house. So you want to, just like when you walk in some rooms, they are very neutral. And that's because it's more appeals to a wider variety of people. The same thing for your exterior. So you wouldn't want, like I said, purple or lime green, for example.
Okay, thanks. So number 3 is like, what are 3 things we can do to make the pictures alluring?
Well, you can do, first of all, accurate pictures. So you could do pictures in the winter, spring, and in the summer. So in the summer, you're going to have a lot of flowers, right?
Mhm.
And then in the winter, you're going to have snow. The spring, you would have, even fall, you would have. I should get some pictures of my properties during the fall. I don't have them because the leaves are turning. And so it'll give a good idea of whatever season is they're booking, they'll know what the property will look like. And then in the spring, you have those uh, not rosebuds, but the things that come on before you get the leaves. What are those called?
I'm
Um,
not sure.
okay. Well, anyway, and you see these pretty flowers on the trees before they get the leaves.
So
So
flowers, accurate pictures,
yeah.
and what else?
So the third thing was the paint color.
Paint color. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you.
No, thank
Um,
you.
yeah, no problem. So number 2, our second secret is building rapport with your guests. Tell us what that means, Norma, and tell us why it matters.
Okay. This is the most important thing that you do to get your guests to ignore any imperfections.
Okay.
Because as I said, nothing is perfect and everything varies from day to day. The wind could have come and knocked over a trash can. Anything could happen where you didn't, it doesn't look like when you left the unit. Because you go obviously and clean it, but let's say something happens in between. But anyway, so I call every guest prior to them arriving.
Okay.
Very important, simply because I want to build a rapport. And I want to know, why are they coming? They tell me. So when they tell me why they're coming, I'll make a comment like, for example, I had a guest that I called the other night. It was a matter of fact last night. And he is coming to see his brother's newborn. And he has a 4-year-old son. And so you're coming to see your brother's newborn, and he's going to give his brother a break. And really, his brother could take his 4-year-old to the Firemen's Museum. So I suggested that to him. He was like, "Oh, that's a great idea." And little kids love the Firemen's Museum. So just that act right there, building that rapport, is going to make him say, "Oh, they're coming in with a very positive attitude."
Okay. So building rapport with your guests because it's going to help them ignore perfections. And part of the way that we do that is, you said, like, why are you coming? Right. So is there a particular script or a particular set of questions that you go through for these guests, or do you go more natural?
Well, I don't have a script.
Okay.
I'm pretty well. If I were to have a script, my script would be, first of all, I tell them the reason I'm calling them is to welcome them. Okay. So yes, I do have a script that is in my head. Okay.
Okay.
I tell them, "Hi, this is Norma. I'm calling. I'm your short-term rental host." And I don't say short-term rental, whatever platform they booked on. That's the name I use. And so I say, "I'm calling for 3 reasons. Number one, I want to tell you welcome." And they go, "Oh, yeah, thank you." And then number two, what brings you to Columbus or DC or wherever? And they'll tell me, and I'll go, "Oh, well, is since you bring in your son," because it'll show me in the reservation how many people are coming. And I'll ask their children's ages. And So I'll suggest things for them to do. And they'll go, "Oh, that's so nice, you know." And then sometimes I'll ask them, "Well, if it's a teenager, what are your teenager's interests?" And that way I can specifically target them to a place where the kids will have an enjoyable time too. So those are some of the things that I do. Welcome, and then I want to know what the reason, what's the purpose of their visit, and then I also let them know that if they call me, that their call won't go to spam because I've already connected with them. You know how your phone, if it doesn't recognize a phone number, it'll go to spam.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to let them know that they won't have that problem with me.
Okay. So before we started today, you talked about the importance of communicating, which we just talked about a little bit. And then you also talked about following up while the guests are there. So can you talk about that a little bit more before we move on to the next secret?
Of course. So building a rapport and maintaining the rapport. So I always contact them after they've been there for one day, and I ask them, "How did you sleep? Do you have any questions?" Let me see. "How did you sleep? Do you have any questions?" And that kind of thing. And so they all, and I text them that, and they always respond, "Thank you so much for asking. We're fine." Or that way they can tell me if they having an issue. The issue I had with a guest this week was she wanted to get local TV channels. First time anybody has given me that request. So I tried to figure out how she could, and then this website or this app called Plex or Flex or something like that. I was told you can get local channels. Well, anyway, I don't know how, I'm not that technical. So I suggested that I would buy an antenna for the TV and she could get local channels. So I went to the store and I bought an antenna and I took it to them. And they were so happy because they could get local channels now. So just finding out what the guests are having difficulties with during their visit. And then that way you will become the best host. And
Thank
that's what
you.
I want to do.
All right. So secret number three, considering the comfort and safety of your guests. So tell us what you mean by that and tell us why it matters.
Okay, so in terms of comfort and safety, don't buy cheap furniture. Now I'm be honest with you. Some young people, because I have kids and grandkids, they don't mind a real soft sofa or a real soft bed. I need firm and I need support because I can't get off a sofa with suave, I can in a suave way. If it's all soft, I'd be struggling trying to get off of it. So I want to be cool when I get up. I need a firm sofa. So most people my age are going to need something more firm. Maybe not you, Jerome, because you're younger. But what do you prefer? Do you prefer soft or firm? Bed or
Firm.
head? Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you're a little different from my kids. My daughter's bed is very I can't sleep in that thing uh because it's too soft. So I need something more firm. So I'm talking about comfort. Now, in my property that has 4 bedrooms, I do have firm and I do have not so firm mattresses. But in the primary bedroom, it is firm. It's top of the notch, beauty rest black mattresses and sheets that are 100% cotton, and they are also 700 or 800 thread count. So they are very soft, they're very durable, they don't look cheap, you can't see through them, and people recognize quality. Now, those are the people that are paying for the reservation, right? Or if somebody is letting their mom sleep in there, they're going to listen to their mom make comments about the place. And so you cannot offend people's mothers. Okay. So in my primary bedrooms, I have beauty rest black mattresses and those really high quality sheets. And So that's what I'm talking about, considering comfort. And the furniture in the building, I don't buy, I buy durable furniture because, frankly, I don't want it to get torn up easily. Because if the guest messes up a piece of furniture, they don't feel good about themselves, and they kind of going to blame you for buying cheap furniture, right? So that's the comfort. And the safety. I want to make sure that the guests feel safe. So I have really good, sturdy locks. Um, I have alarm systems, and I have cameras. And I tell the guests that I have cameras because it's really for their peace of mind. The security system, they always mention, well, not always. Some guests mention we felt safe there was a security system. So I have security systems at all my properties and cameras.
All right. Give us three things we can do to make the place more safe. You talked about them, but I just want like a recap. Three things we can do to make the place more comfortable, and then three things we can do to make the guests feel safe. So let's start with comfort. Three things to make them more comfortable.
Okay, upgraded furniture,
Okay.
um, upgraded furniture. Also, oh yeah, the mattresses should be. You should have offer some firm mattresses,
Okay.
and also if you have sturdy furniture, they won't break it.
Okay.
Hmm.
Three things to increase the safety of the guests.
Of course, outdoor lighting, particularly at night.
Okay.
And I like the fact that I use the keyless entry
Okay.
locks because you can change the code for each guest. And okay, here's my other secret: their codes are always the last four digits of their phone number, simply because I can remember that, and so can they.
That's smart.
So they don't have to worry about, oh, what code did she send? They don't have to look it up. Yeah.
Okay. Give us one more. Safety.
Safety. Did I say cameras already?
Nope. So
Oh,
safety. Yeah.
cameras are makes a guest feel safe because
Okay.
on the pad in the house, if someone comes to the door, like if they order through DoorDash or something, and somebody comes to the door and rings the doorbell, that pad will light up and show them what's going on the exterior, and they go, "Oh, our food is here," or they'll go, "Oh, there's somebody there. I don't know who it is."
Okay, thank you. So let's move on to secret number 4. And you're giving us sub secrets too. So we got more than enough secrets in here. You said one of your secrets is live in your listing before your guests. So tell us what that means and why it matters.
Well, what that means is this. So I just built a duplex, and I wanted to know what the guest experience would be while they're there. So I actually stayed there and I went through my routine. So get up in the morning, shower. How about that? I do. Get up in the morning, shower, brush your teeth, make your breakfast. What would that experience be like in that property? And I found that I didn't know this. So since it's a new build, they put a bathtub in there that was anti-slip. Now, in all my other properties with the older bathtubs, I always put a bath mat in there because I don't want people to wash their hair and condition it, and that conditioner is oily, they could slip. So they need some friction. So yeah, I don't even think you need that in that tub. I was impressed. Although I didn't like the fact that it was a little smaller. And my husband is a big guy, so he may not he might feel a little claustrophobic in there. But we have two bathrooms, and the other bathroom has a really big standalone shower, so he would be comfortable in there. So those are the kinds of things that you want to be able to communicate to the guests if you see that you have a really tall, big guest like my husband, it might work better for him to be in the other bathroom because it's just a shower and it's big. But the other bathroom is a shower bathtub combo, and it's just not as much space. hmm So you want to
So,
live in
mhm.
the unit and go through your routine so that you can know how the guests will experience the space.
Excellent. So you already gave us the how, which is, so you said living there and you want to go through like your everyday routine. So that's the how. Like, what do you do every day? You go through that routine. You wake up, you brush your teeth, you brush your hair, whatever you do in your normal day to day life, you do that inside of your short term rental. So like we're turning this into a project. I'm going to task you, which I'll give you a little bit later. We're going to have to come up with some kind of checklist so people can do this in their own businesses when they're trying to do a short-term rental. So that's something that we're going to, go deeper on a little bit later.
Okay, I have made a note here that we need to do a checklist.
All right. So secret number 5 is cleanliness and the scent of your listing. And one of my favorite, one of the things I'm most what do you say, interested about what you do, like your project, is you have that one example that you call what's pristine clean. So talk about that first, and then I want you to talk about the cleanliness and the scent of the listing.
Okay, yeah. So what Jerome is referring to, I have a listing that is called Pristine Clean and Sanitized Business Paradise. So it says it in the name that is going to be pristine, clean, and sanitized. So when you go to that listing, if it says that, it better be pristine, clean, and sanitized. Um, because, I'm a microbiologist. And so I'm very conscious of not spreading germs. And really, I came up with that idea when it was COVID. Okay. And I had several people that told me, well, um, we specifically chose this listing because of the name, because they were concerned about it being sanitized. And I said it in the name. So that is cleanliness is one of the top things that I have. Now, I I don't like for my listings to be fully booked 100%. I like some time in between my bookings. Now, and the reason I do that, so in other words, I don't want 100% occupancy. Some people may say, well, that's crazy. Well, it's not, because if you do a deep clean, you know, you have 4 hours between guests when you book them, generally. They check out at 11, check in is at 3. Now, how in the world are you going to do a deep clean in 4 hours? You can't. You need a couple of days. So when I say deep clean, I mean deep clean. I clean and sanitize every surface, the walls, every inch of the walls, the baseboards. And when you walk into the ceiling fans, everything gets sanitized. The rugs, I change all the rugs. So I don't have carpet in my units. I want to be able to come in and freshen up that floor. The only thing I don't clean is the ceiling. But if I could find a way to do that, I would. But anyway, and then the surfaces in my units are wipeable. I have very few. Well, if I have upholstered furniture, they have covers on them that I can take off and wash. So when I say pristine clean, I mean everything in that house, every inch gets cleaned and sanitized. You can't do that in 4 hours. So when people come to my unit, when they walk in, it smells so fresh. And if when it loses that fresh smell, that's when I shut it down and we freshen that unit, because I have a very sensitive nose. And my mom had one too. I can smell a rat from a mile away. So not that we have any rats, but I'm just saying that's how sensitive my nose is. And so when I walk into a place, that's the first thing that I sense is the smell. So since I'm so sensitive to smell, I think other people are too. So that's why my units are pristine, clean, and sanitized. And
Thank you.
they smell fresh.
Okay. So three things. What are three things we can do to make it pristine clean? Like what you do? Like what are your three things that you
Mhm.
do?
So I do a deep cleaning. Really, after if I have a guest that stays more than 30 days, it's a deep clean automatically. I also I also periodically, like once a month, um, really I do a deep clean monthly. And I tell you how I wash the walls. I'm gonna just give you this. I have that old cedar mop, and you can change the mop heads on it, and you can wash the walls with that thing very, very fast and easily. You can clean the baseboards with it, and so that's what I do. Now I want to say, so old cedar mop. I'm not trying to do a commercial for them, but I'm trying to tell people how to do things easily without it and efficient. That's the word I want to use, because nobody wants to do this if it's hard and it's not efficient. So you do the deep clean, you use the O-Cedar mop to clean the walls and the baseboards. And let me see, number three, because that was two, right?
It was it. Two, three. You gave a few. It was enough. If you want to find another one, we're happy to take another one. So
Okay. And as I indicated, I don't have carpet.
okay,
And so I have luxury vinyl plank floors. All of my floors are, well, take that back. I do have some properties with hardwood, but I do dust mop, and I do run a damp disinfectant mop over those hardwood floors.
okay.
Um, and so that makes the place really fresh.
Right. So those three, like those things that you do to make it clean, gives it the scent.
Well, yeah, but here's one other thing. Every property that I have or that I manage, I make sure the HVAC system gets a um, clean. The vents get cleaned. That's
Okay.
before we have any guests there. So we have to clean the vents, and I'm telling you, all that debris that comes out of there, it makes a huge difference in the smell. And then we change the filters every 30 days.
Okay.
hmm It's
All
not
right.
every 30, because if we have a guest in there, we might, but every 90 days for sure.
Okay. So that cleanliness gives a scent. I have a question about scent. Do you like, what do you think about like scent, like something like, oh, I want it to smell like flowers or orange, or like, should people do that, or should they remain closer to being neutral because of people's allergies and stuff like that? What's your perspective?
Well, I cannot wear perfume or colognes, because when I put it on, it goes through my skin and my mouth. I can taste it. That's why I have like this real sensitive smell situation going on. So for me, I don't want to walk into a place and smell, for example, incense or air mist or something like that. I can deal with more of a natural fruity smell.
Okay.
Um, I prefer that because it's going to be less offensive to most people. And so I kind of use myself as a barometer on how it should smell.
Okay.
And I do hear a lot of comments when, since I have a ring doorbell on the outside of the house, I have heard a lot of people open that door and go, "Oh, it smells good in here." That's the first thing that hits them.
Yeah. First impressions.
Yeah.
Nice.
hmm
Impressions that stick. So this next one, this next secret, I'm excited about this secret because I love, I'm the marketing person. So I love when people understand the importance of this. This next secret is you talked about an email list, right? So you have a list, it says an email list of phone numbers. You keep a list of your guests' email, phone numbers on a spreadsheet. So you're building a database. Can you talk about that and why that matters?
Yeah, I'm building. I have always built a database, so I log on a spreadsheet the guest name, their phone number, and their email address. I capture that because you want to. This is your business. It's not. You don't want to rely on Airbnb, Verbal, etc., whoever you are doing business with on the platform, to build to capture all this information, and you don't. And so that's why I make sure that I build a database. I call the guests; they already know who I am. They remember me, and I get a lot of repeat guests really without doing anything. And to be honest with you, I haven't really used the database yet, but I'm going to. I have the information when I'm ready. But I do have.
I'm going to make her, y'all.
Well, I have had lots of success with people just coming back to the listings because of building the rapport. They like the units, and so yeah, people come back. But that database is going to be used um, to contact people because I know these people have a reason to come to Columbus, right,
Mhm.
or to Flint or to Washington D.C. So, well, I think more of my guests that come to D.C. I do have a lot of people come there to work, but a lot of people come there as tourists. But they always say we're going to come back. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. And one of my favorite things that I learned from one of my mentors is just saying thank you. And sometimes just saying thank you to a person makes them say, hey, you know what? I've been meaning to, in our case, I've been meaning to book another because I'm going out in that area. And you just said thank you. And that's a way where you increase business and you gain more business and whatever it is that you're doing. So sometimes just reach random thank you or hey, you can get more business from that. So
Well, that's true. On the since I communicate through the message boards on these Verbal and Airbnb apps, but I also they end up texting me since I call them, and I always
Mhm.
tell them thank you for being my guest when they
Mhm.
finish, and I'll ask them beforehand, is there anything I need to know about or that you observed that I need to know about? Because I don't live at these properties, and they'll
Mhm.
tell me. And so usually when they get that out off their chest, they're not concerned about writing a bad review because they already told me about it.
Thank you. So, how do you collect that email, like that list? Like, what are some things that you do? Like, do you go on a website and how do you collect that list? So,
Well, Verbo gives you their email address
okay.
and their phone number after they book. So that's an easy one.
Okay.
Airbnb, however, does not do that. But when I call the guest and we build a rapport, I just simply ask them for their email address
Okay.
through text. Yeah.
All right. So, our next secret, I like
I
this
tell you
one.
another way to get their email address and even their address. A lot of times, I would say 90% of the time, guests leave things.
Okay.
So I got to get their email address and their address to send the stuff to them.
Okay. I like that. You got to get their address, and I'm gonna tell you why I like that a little bit later, probably behind the scenes. But that's really good.
Hmm.
Um. So the next secret is you mentioned, like, I hear you talk about this a lot. This is so important. And I think most people fail here, like having your own website. So you mentioned have your own website and set up your listing like a business. So tell us what you mean by that and tell us why it matters.
Well, as what I mean by that is you shouldn't rely on any of these short-term rental platforms, medium-term rental platforms, or whatever for your bit to build your business and maintain your business, because you are in business and you should be taking the steps to, if something happens to Airbnb, if they no longer exist, you can still operate, right? Something
Mhm.
happens to Verbal. What if you get kicked off of these platforms? Because they always have all these rules. You got to deal with the city. They have rules. They can kick you off at any time. They can suspend you, kick you off. What do you do in that case? So you have to be prepared and be proactive and say, oh, I have my own website. I have my own database. I can do my own marketing through Jerome because that's what he does, the social media marketing. So that's why it's important to build your own business and have your own marketing strategies in place. It's really important. You don't have a business if you are relying on somebody else for your livelihood.
Thank you. What are some things we can do to like get that website up? Like, if you could give us a tip, like set up your own website. Like, what should that website contain at the very minimum so we can be successful? That you know.
Well, first of all, you want to give them a bio about yourself because
Mhm.
people want to feel like they can trust you as a business owner. It doesn't have to be long, it could be brief. And, to be honest with you, a lot of people go to your LinkedIn account anyway to check you out.
Really?
They do. They look you up on Facebook, LinkedIn, they Google your name. And so if you create your own website, like for example, I have a website, normarichards.com, and I have one, happyspacesllc.com. And the reason I have those is so that if somebody wants to Google my name, I'm controlling what they see because my name is actually on the website. It'll go straight to it. So, and then they'll find out that I'm a very trustworthy person. I'm very community oriented and all the things I have done to help the community. And they'll feel good about, they'll know I'm honest and they'll feel good about um, doing business with me.
Okay.
Now, did that
Uh,
answer your question? Because
It does. It does, and I'll go deeper on that myself to help people understand. This teamwork, y'all. Like, you can't be successful in any business without having a team.
you
So,
can't.
remember, have your own website and set up your listing like a business. I think we can go deeper on that. When you say like set it up like a business, what does that mean? Like, and how do people normally set it up versus not setting it up like a business?
Okay, so when you have a business, what do? You have an accounting program.
Hmm.
In this particular business, you should have a legal counsel that draws up your contracts. And if you don't market, if you don't have customers, you don't have a business, right? So you have to market, you have to lure guests to your place. Okay. So that's where marketing comes in. And so for me, having a business just means that I know I can't do it alone. I'm not an
Hmm.
attorney. I'm not an accountant. I'm not an expert in marketing like Jerome. So, and I recognize that really, I think more importantly than legally and um, accounting wise, well, legal, you probably should have that tight. But if you don't have customers, you just don't have a business. That's just the bottom line. So that marketing is the most important thing, um, and having a good product or service as well.
Thank you, Norma, for sharing that. And I'm so proud, y'all. It's the truth. Like, if you don't have customers, you don't have a business, and you're going to struggle. You won't have success in this business. Marketing is tied into a lot of what we do. Our next secret, Norma, we're on secret number 8, and we got one more after this, is don't depend on third-party apps like VRBO, Airbnb, etc. So, can you tell us what you mean by that and why we shouldn't rely and depend on those third-party apps?
Okay, yeah. So that is really what I just talked about in terms of building your own business, and I
Mhm.
just explained that. you don't want to rely on verbal Airbnb to bring you customers.
Okay.
Because, like I said, what if something happens? What if, well, I'll give you a good example. Since I've been doing, since I've been with Airbnb and Verbo for a while, their site has gone down. Their sites have gone down a few times. And I was in the middle of dealing with a customer or guest that was coming, and I couldn't get in touch with them because they made the reservation. Then all of a sudden, the sites went down. But it's gotten better here recently. But yeah, that can happen. And then what do? What if they were to go down permanently? That's really the bottom line right there. You have to have something else going on. You have to be your own independent business. You can't rely on them.
Okay. So that's we covered everything. The last one was make their appearance appealing, which we already covered. Is there anything else that jumps out to you like, oh, they must need to know this? And we'll call these our bonus secrets.
Well, I think the only other thing that I may not have mentioned is that
Mhm.
you have to have a team
Okay.
working with you, that you cannot do this by yourself.
Okay.
And so, although technology has really made it easier for people to run their own independent businesses like a sole proprietor, but I'm not a sole proprietor. I'm an LLC. I have a team that works with us. And so, yeah, I'm telling you, you can't do this by yourself. You need
Okay.
people that are experts in their areas to work with, like Jerome with the marketing. I have an attorney, I have an accountant, I have a bookkeeper, I have cleaners, maintenance people. I can't do all that.
Right.
So, yeah.
So I was going to, you like went, and I was going to ask you to list out like what are some team members that people should absolutely like, who should you absolutely have on your team? But I think you missed like an important one. So I want you to like, I want to go back and I want to like maybe strategically like list them out. Like, who do you think is the most important person to have on your team? And then I want you to try to go in like an order that you think makes sense. But if you can't, it's not a big deal. Does that make sense?
Okay, I can try.
All right.
So you
So
want to know who's the most important person on your team?
yeah, like not the most important, but what do you think of like, oh, you absolutely need that person. You probably need that person first. And I think like when you were explaining it a little bit earlier, you talk about legal, you're like, that's important because of documents, but it might not be. So according to you, like there's no right and wrong. We just want to hear Norma's perspective. Who does Norma think is like, okay, you need that person, that person, that person? Like, what's the first person you think of when you're thinking about a team?
Oh, okay. Well, it depends on the size of your business because,
Hmm.
okay, like I said, I don't do all these things myself, but from the beginning, I was able, like when I had one unit, um, I could manage it and clean it myself. And I
Hmm.
was just on Airbnb and they had the legal stuff already in it. But when I grew and expanded, it became important for me to have an attorney to draw
Okay.
up the documents that I needed because you need agreements between uh, the cleaning staff, and I would say the cleaners are the most important thing when you're really running um, more than one listing. You got to be fair, pay them a fair wage, and be concerned about them because they they can make or break your business. Because as I indicated, my listing is called pristine, clean, and sanitized. I can't clean and sanitize all these units that I manage. So my cleaning staff, the contractors that I work with, I am super, I pay them fairly. I make sure that I have several cleaning teams that I can access simply because they have lives too. And you don't want to put the pressure on them that they have to always be there so they can take time for their kids or their health or whatever it is that they need to do. You have to make sure that you have multiple cleaning teams so it takes the pressure off of all of them. And of course, you have to balance that because you want them to all have consistent work, but you also want to make sure that if they can't make it, that you don't make them feel bad because they can't, because they have lives.
Okay, so here's what I got from Norma, y'all. So, and here's what I'm going to say. So, here's what you need on your team. Number one, what I think is you need you, right? You got to be in the right mindset. You got to have the right training. You got to be committed to this process. So that's the first thing that we need, right? In order to build a team, we got to be successful and strong ourselves, right? So that's number one. Number two is an attorney, right? When you're growing and you're getting bigger, you need an attorney. All right. Next is three, right? So a legal team. Number three is cleaners. All right. So you need a cleaning team is what next. That they help keep your short-term rental in order and they help things run smoothly. And then number four, I'm going to throw this in there because that's what I do, y'all. So you need a marketing team, right? You need a marketing team. You need people to help you market your listing and get that stuff running. And then this is where I think we haven't really talked about this. And I'm going to put it on Norma. I think you need a mentor or a coach. And I think people forget about that as being part of their team. So could you talk about that, Norma?
Well, you're absolutely right. You do need a mentor or coach, and I have mentored many people. When I first got into this, I don't think I had a mentor because it was so new. You know, I had to figure it out on my own, and I was introduced to short-term rentals through my children because they used to travel, or they still travel a lot, and they would tell me that they're staying at an Airbnb, and I was like, "What the heck is that? It's not even a word. Airbnb, it needs another vowel
Mm-hmm.
or two." But anyway, they explained what it meant: air mattress, bread, and breakfast, bed and breakfast. Okay, fine. But anyway, I stayed in a few of them with my kids. I never met any of the owners, though. I never met any of the owners. So I had to just figure it out on my own. But since, I've been in contact with so many other hosts and real estate investors, I have mentored lots of people.
Okay. And so, Norma, you offer different services. You offer, I don't know exactly what to call it, but you offer services, and I want you to talk about those services, and I want you to tell people how they can get in touch with you for those services or for your mentorship or your coaching.
Okay, so they can get in touch with me by going to happyspacesllc.com. My contact information is on that website.
And
And
they'll get access to both services, the mentorship and the
yeah, they can contact me for mentorship, or if they have a space that they want to put a listing, make a listing on Airbnb, because I do that. I just did that this weekend with a young man who bought a property, and I actually have one of his properties now, but he brought another property and he wanted to make sure that he set it up in a way that it would be efficiently run if we do a short-term rental with it. So I told him what he needed to do. And I actually worked with another young man, and we looked at several properties. It took him a year to find the perfect property. So you have to be patient too. So I do mentor, and I know that you have to have the right situation. In other words, you have to go into the property right so that it's not going to, the expenses are not going to be too high where you don't make enough money. But that's another story.
Okay, Norma, thank you so much. If we imagine this, which is going to be, we imagine what we just did. This episode is a book, and you could close it out with like a sentence, a paragraph, or maybe a topic. What would you close it out with? What would you say to anybody that's trying to have success in short-term rentals? And you just gave them all of these secrets. What would you say?
Well, actually, there are some other things that we need to talk about now that I think about it. But if I wanted to summarize this conversation,
Yes.
I would say that I think that in order to be successful with, it's a hospitality business.
Mm-hmm.
and things have to be addressed immediately. So and you have to build a rapport. You don't have a lot of time to do that, because if something goes wrong, you don't have a lot of time to redeem yourself. So they have to feel like you care about them. That's the whole thing about building a rapport with people, is that you care, and not you're not just in this for the financial gain. So I think that's the most important thing that people need to understand, to feel like you care about them.
All right, Norma. I know we got more to talk about, but I'll tell you how we can do that later. So, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for doing this with me. And anybody that's watching this, it's going to become a book. So look out for that book.
Yes,
All right.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right, Norma. Thank you so much.
Oh, you are so welcome.
All right, here we go.